So, hey everybody, this is Paul from Paul's Asian Adventure, and Happy New Year. Hopefully 2021 will be a lot better than 2020. This is my Christmas present, a new microphone, so hopefully the sound is a lot better, and in the next videos I'll be using this microphone as well. Anyway, what I wanted to cover in this video was younger women versus older women, and why it can be preferable to date younger women compared to older women. Besides the looks and the hotness of younger women, what are the advantages of dating a younger woman? So before I start this video, I want to preface something by emphasizing that my opinions here are based on averages, or what is normally known as a typical type of outcome. Yes, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule. I don't know why I have to say this, but it's got to be said, because you always get the proverbial, yes, but my girl is different. Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so when you move to Southeast Asia, the Philippines, there are many advantages to living here. You know, the cost of living, the weather, the nature, the social life is just so much better here. And you know, all these aspects of life here in the Philippines I've covered somewhat in videos before, and those can be seen in the links below. But besides that, what is the biggest attraction here in the Philippines? Well, that is without a doubt the women. So the availability of feminine women, both in looks and mannerism, is something that is, you know, exceedingly rare in the West, but it's in abundance here in the Philippines. The women here look and act more feminine than their counterparts in the West. Another thing that happens when you move here is that your SMV, or also what is referred to as your sexual market value, increases exponentially. That's for a variety of reasons that happen, but believe me when I say this, it increases dramatically. So for the purposes of this video, I want to define old women as when women hit the wall, or in other words, when they get to about 30. I've seen some women push it to 35, even 40, but typically it's around 30. So that's the kind of cutoff, what I'm defining as old. You have your own definition, but that's, for me, what I base this video on. So another thing, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you either live in Southeast Asia, specifically the Philippines, or you're planning to move here. And the reason I say that is because the availability of younger, slimmer, hotter women is just so much bigger here than it is in the West. You know, if you've lived in the US, you know, women there can be pretty big. So I'll leave it at that. So let's get the most obvious out of the way. Men are attracted to younger women because they perceive them as hotter, right? And the reason for this is in our base instinct for a multitude of reasons, and has to do with the development of men during hundreds of thousands of years, and, you know, passing on our DNA and all that. But I'm not going to get into that. That's a subject matter for a different video. But you know, that's why we're attracted to younger women. So when it comes to younger women, most of them are very enthusiastic about life. Basically, they have just started life. You know, everything is new for them. And, you know, the world is like an endless place of excitement. But here in the Philippines, there are certain social constructs, and also due to financial issues, most women have not seen much except for the limited area where they live, and have not experienced much either. So especially the younger Filipinas. So for example, if you take her to a resort, you take her to a nice restaurant, you take her fishing, or you go on a jet ski, whatever activity you choose to do that is outside of the norm here in the Philippines, she's going to really appreciate it, and it really means the world to her. Seeing that happiness in her eyes, and you know, her excitement is worth gold. She is really willing to do new things. She's excited about new things. She hasn't had that experience, and kind of reliving the moment with her is kind of like us reliving the first time we did something. So it's a really, really nice feeling. Typically, younger women will have more energy than older women, which means she's willing to try new activities. If you want to take any type of classes, want to do something adventurous, she'll be there. Like if you want to take a shooting class, you want to take a cooking class, you want to start a YouTube channel, they're in, they just want to try the new stuff because they haven't had that experience. They don't know if they like it or dislike it. They have more energy and will drag you along to do more adventurous stuff than your typical older woman, and not just hang around the house. The older we get as men, or women for that matter, the more homebound we tend to be, or we become more of a homebody, if you will. So having someone younger living with you, or your girlfriend, she will tend to drag you out and find more fun and adventurous stuff, just kind of like when we were young. We wanted to do new type of adventures, wanted to find new things, we wanted to go new places because we hadn't had that experience, so everything's exciting. Now, if you are dating for the longer term, younger women are fantastic. Now, I can attest to this, but this is due to a multitude of reasons. And of course, it's because the younger a girl is, the more she is open to internal change. She is ready and excited to learn. That's me, getting me out of my rhythm. Stop it. Anyway, where was I? She's excited and ready to learn new things, and she's ready to embrace new things that you have to show her, and she's ready to learn from you because she knows you've had that experience. And if you're worth emulating, hopefully she will try to emulate too, because you remember, most people want to be the best they can be, and if she sees in you as a person that is worth emulating, she'll try to emulate you. So what that means also is that you guys probably will grow closer together and have more of a chemistry, unlike an older woman that might be set in her ways and does not want to change. So that again will make it more difficult in a relationship, while a younger woman adapts a lot easier than an older woman. So like I said, she's basically like we were in our younger days, trying to learn from the best to become the best. Also, another thing to think of, most younger women are less cynical, less jaded, and typically have less baggage than an older woman. Another advantage, hopefully the relationship goes well and nothing happens, but if the relationship should sour, it's a lot easier to end that relationship. Look, she's hot, young, pretty, whatever term you want to use, and she has plenty of options. So the relationship souring does not feel like the end of the world to her. Yes, you are her security, and yes, you're her comfort, and she relies on you and everything. But in the end, when you think about it, for her to find another guy to continue that lifestyle, it's not that hard as it is for an older woman. So she can get over you a lot faster than maybe an older woman can. Now, what are some of the disadvantages of dating a younger woman in Southeast Asia, specifically the Philippines? There are none. Joke. There are plenty of disadvantages. Women here in the Philippines, I don't know about the rest of Southeast Asia, but here in the Philippines, they can be rather immature for their age compared to their Western counterpart. And this is due to a multitude of reasons, education, culture, and so on, but I won't get into that. But that's just a fact. And that can create issues in the relationship. It can create major headaches and frustrations and misunderstandings. However, the advantage is they grow quickly out of that if they're with a mature guy, and especially if they're living with you. But another thing that can happen, and it's happened to me, because with her being immature and you trying to teach her or mold her, whichever term you prefer to use, you can basically come off as condescending even though you're not. And when people see you correcting her English or doing, or talking about world politics or something, whatever you want to be talking about, it can come off as condescending, like you're talking down to her, and you're not. You're just maybe trying to teach her things that she doesn't know. So, but as I said, she's young, she will learn quickly. But there can be other issues with her immaturity, like clinginess, dependency. But, all these issues can be worked through, especially if she's living with you, and especially if you're a guy that, wants to teach her, wants to show her the way, show her the ropes. Another thing you want to consider especially if you're thinking marriage or long term, it's the depth of this relationship. Yes, she loves you right now, but what about 10, 20, 30 years from now when you are in your 60s, 70s, 80, and she's still young and vicarious? Will she still love you, or will her love have just died out and you be in a loveless relationship? And how will it be when you're in the 70s or 80s being in a loveless relationship, knowing she's just waiting to move on? That can't be a good feeling. So that's something to really, really consider before you get into one of these long-term marriage relationships. As you all know, I'm against marriage, so I don't recommend that. But if that's where you want to go, that's something to really consider. There are other challenges with younger women. Depending on your age and your vitality, you might not be able to even keep up with her, if you know what I mean. There's also the issue of younger women abusing men. Not so much physically, but mentally. You might not think that any woman here in the Philippines will get one over you, but believe me when I say it, I've seen it time and time again and heard of horror stories of some young, beautiful, uneducated Filipina pulling one over the supposedly Western, educated, experienced man. Now, why does this happen? It's for a multitude of reasons, but it has to do with the base instinct of men. We always want to be the person who saves, right? We're like the savior. And it's in our emotional bank, if you want to call it that. So one has to watch out for that, and it's kind of complicated, but basically, okay, I'm getting a bit off topic, so I'll cover that in a different video. But you got to be careful how you approach things here in the Philippines, and try not to have that mentality that you're going to save everybody. Other negatives with younger women are they typically have not had children. So if you're dating a younger girl, she might want to have kids with you, because one of the things that's very popular here in the Philippines is actually having what they call a Philam kid, which is a Filipino-American kid, because they kind of think of them as really, really cute, really good-looking kids. That's the way they perceive them. And it's kind of a point of pride here. So if you are dating a younger woman, be very, very careful, because she might suddenly get pregnant, if you know what I mean. But if you're not wanting to have kids and you are in a relationship, you got to be honest. That brings me to a different subject matter, which is honesty. When you first start dating, you're probably not going to talk about having children. You're not going to talk about marriage. However, as you get into that relationship, if you don't want to get married, you don't want to have children, it's very important that you emphasize that to her. You have to be clear and precise in the use of language, and make sure she understands you. Make sure she doesn't think you're going to change your mind in a month or a year. If only I show him this and that, and if only I do this, he's going to change his mind. No, be very clear and precise with her where you want to go with that relationship. Because remember, the golden years for women is 30 years and younger. That's when they have their value, for lack of other words, their sexual value, where they can attract they can attract a man in their life of value. That's when they can do it, because that's when they're most attractive. And we as men, we're very visual. So they want to attract the best man they can with what they want. I mean, if this girl wants marriage and she wants to have kids, and you're just wasting 1, 2, 3 years of her life, well, she's just lost 30%. She's in her 20s. She might have lost just 30% of her opportunity to find someone who can really give her what she needs, her needs and wants. And it's also important for you not to waste your time. I mean, maybe you're with a girl and you're just, having fun. There's so many girls here in the Philippines. So if you just want to have fun, be clear and precise about it, because there are girls that want to have fun, and if this girl doesn't want to have fun, just move on to the next one. Dating here is not, like I've covered in other videos, dating here is nothing like the West. You'll be surprised how easy it is. But in the end, whether you choose an older woman or a younger woman, it's really about chemistry, about that feeling of comfort and wanting to be with a person long term. Maybe she makes you laugh as never before. Maybe she rocks your socks in bed, or maybe she just enjoys the same activities as you do. There could be a wealth of reasons why you really like this girl. So no matter who you choose, take it slow and watch out for the red flags. That's the red flags. That's a subject for a different video, but I'm gonna make a video on that soon, so keep an eye out for that, because there are many red flags here when you're in a relationship. So again, just remember to take it slow. Don't let anybody pressure you into marriage. I'm against marriage, but don't let anybody pressure you. Make sure that's what you want, and only after you've dated the girl for at least 2 years. And don't, for God's sakes, don't buy anything in anybody's name. Don't put your investments in anybody's name. That's a way to lose money over here. But I'll cover all those subjects in more detail in the red flag video. So I hope you've enjoyed this new video format, and if you would, please comment below. This video has been kind of actually more scripted. I've had notes in front of me. So what do you think of a more scripted video than the free-flowing that I had before? Also, go ahead and comment on the subject matter. Oh yeah, just quickly, my next video will be about the advantages of dating an older Filipina, and there are a multitude of advantages in dating an older Filipina. And if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe, as this really helps me grow my channel. Thank you, and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.